Well, welcome everyone to Life on Side B Season 3 finale.
Woo! Woo! We are here a whole season.
Oh my gosh. You know, honestly, I wasn't sure we were going to get the microphones up and running for this, but we did. The Lord is good, and we're here, live from Revoice 2021.
Come on.
And this is the first time ever our entire co-host has been together in person.
Yeah, at the same time.
It's fabulous. As a team. I think we've all been in the same place.
We've all met.
At one point in time.
We've all met before, but we've never been in the room together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is fun. This is interesting. And
I had to get dressed because y'all know how I'm on podcasts. I don't like being getting dressed in these videos Josh makes me do. But
we're not making videos
I'm
today.
dressed and I'm here. Okay, and we're not even taking the video.
I know.
we're not
the
taking
cameras out.
videos anymore.
Okay.
I love that we took pictures today, and then you came up at 11 o'clock going, are we meeting? Okay, I'm about to go change.
I did because I was wearing my comfortable clothes.
Yes.
And I changed.
This is the fourth outfit I've seen Henry in today.
That's true. That actually is true.
Yeah.
There we go. You see? So we're going to start out by discussing Season 3, and we're going to listen to a clip roll from Season 3.
We're back. Season 3, and we're here.
But I think with inclusion, it's important to, I think sometimes we use this metric, we look at diversity and we're like, okay, like we have this percentage of women and this percentage of men and this percentage of these people, and don't actually make space for people to exist in the ways that they want to exist.
A phrase that's come up is like, how can most of us be uncomfortable some of the time so that all of us can be comfortable most of the time?
Almost, I want for us to stop fighting to belong and simply just be.
But the question is not, is Side B diverse? The question is, are the institutions that we have set up including people?
I think it's not Side B simply because you believe a quote-unquote traditional interpretation. I think it's Side B when you're protective of and have a life-giving vision for, as Eve Tushnet talks about, you have this vocation and this excitement about what life on Side B could be.
Like I always say, instead of blaming people for being gay or trans, how about we turn the mirror around and ask, are we good missionaries?
What is this really about? Is it really about identity? Because I really don't think it is. I don't know anyone who self-describes as a gay Christian who would say that their identity is not in Christ. So I really don't think that's it. I think maybe the word can distract people from hearing well.
People come out of your testimony remembering more about you and less about Jesus, then whose story are you really telling in the first place?
I've been realizing that this is news to me, but not to other people. I think I realized it about the time we released the episode is that I am an extrovert in my mind.
Like such a more self-aware person than that.
Yes.
I think part of the trouble is when people get sort of grabby and demanding because they want the Side B community to be their church. You know, let's try to put down roots in our own traditions so we can come into ecumenical space and, you know, be sort of open and generous with each other.
You have so much worth and value, and the Father loves you so much. We can talk all day long about the gospel and the beauty of Christ taking our place for our sins, etc. He came to capture our hearts and draw us close to him.
Because I think if all we ever do for ourselves as Side B people is like carve out space for ourselves and make theological arguments for our right to exist, there's a whole lot that we miss in relation to what it looks like to live a beautiful life with Jesus along the way.
Say it back. Say it one more time for the people in the back. If that's all we do, we're going to be doing more than that. Say it one more time. I want y'all to hear what this man just said.
Even in stewarding our sexuality, it's not just about us as individuals, right? Like it is a lot of living out our faithfulness in community.
I have learned, probably the hard way, that my life has to be consistent. I have to be the same person when eyes are not focused on me as I am when eyes are focused on me.
As we talk this season and have various guests on and interview people, it's like I want the narrative to not be, well, how can we shrink ourselves so we can fit in, but how can we exist in whole ways that allow us to belong in these spaces? So.
Play through because none of us can remember even what episodes.
No, I'm looking at it right now.
Are you looking at
Let's talk
looking
about
at
it?
it? That's what I was
There
about to
you
do. I was going to read out the episodes we had.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about it. So we started the season. Oh gosh. We had the most episodes we've ever had in the season. We talked about a lot.
How many we have? 24?
We had, not counting the season finale, we had 25 episodes.
Ooh.
Because we kept adding things and adding things
and adding things. You know, every year we have a meeting
talk about.
of co-hosts going, what are we going to talk about? And then we don't stick to the plan.
I mean,
Generally.
half of it.
Half of it. And then we add and we change and we go, this just happened, so we need to talk about this. But we started with us talking about identity and inclusion. Mm-hmm. And then you and I, Grant and I, did the episode with Darren Calhoun at QCF.
Yes.
On queer Christian
January world
6th.
away.
Yeah.
I know.
That was happening literally January 6th.
Yeah, it was.
I remember. Oh gosh!
I walked out of the room.
Because we couldn't get a hold of y'all.
No, you guys couldn't get a hold of us, and then we walked out of that recording,
right. And y'all saw
we
the
were like,
world was
"What
like-
just
Oh,
happened
yeah.
to the world?"
Okay. That was this year.
Y'all remember
Yes.
January 6th?
That was
January
this
Y'all
year.
remember the
A
Capitol?
lot's happened in my world this year.
That was this year.
Oh gosh! And then we had brunch with the authors. You and me. You had that discussion with Wes.
When you didn't read their books and you interviewed them?
Listen, I am an ADD dyslexic host of a podcast. I can't read all of these books.
There's also too many books for celibate gay folks. Too many books.
First time we can ever say
Okay,
that.
that is a good problem to have. Don't say that.
It is
That's
a
the first time.
We love the books. We love so many books, but you can't read all the books.
Okay.
I know. I'm glad that
I'm trying to read all the
I'm
books.
glad that our interview with Greg Johnson got pushed back because I'm still reading this book.
Okay, girl, that book got mailed, and I was like, I'm gonna have to put that in 2022.
I know. And then Becca and I talked to Bill Henson about missiology. Grant and Sarah talked to Matthew Ventura about queerness and identity.
Yes.
That's something we haven't even acknowledged. Sarah's not here with us today.
She's not here.
She's not here, but we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that
a little bit more.
in a minute.
But you two talked about queerness and identity.
That was so good.
Then Ashley came back after a break from a baby.
Yes. Yeah, not a break from a baby. She's on a break
from after having a baby.
Right now is a break from a baby.
Maternity leave.
Yes, and we did the first.
It has a name.
Yes.
Okay.
We did the first Patreon chosen topic episode of potential power and harm of our stories. Then we did 1 year after our episode on Side B, Side B on life during Corona.
Yes.
When we had Melinda Malone and David Gill on there. And then we had...
Remember that at the pandemic when we first did that first episode, when we were like, oh, this is going to be a couple of weeks.
Oh, yeah. We were like, let's mark this so that we know this month.
And then, here we are still. So...
Then we had a panel of Greg Webb, Joanna Finnegan, and Brandon Polk talking about faith, tradition, diversity.
Yes, we did.
Yes. Then we did a short break of like top 10 episodes, which just kind of did clips. Then we had Christian Johnston on talking about sexual abuse. And Becca and Brandon Polk were also... Becca and Brandon Polk led that discussion, and I was in that. Then we had the co-host discussion on the Side B the sides terminology.
When I wasn't going to pop in.
And then you just appeared. The co-host on the LGBT community as chosen family. Then we had Joanna Finnegan back on female inclusion. And it was, who was that? That was Ashley and Sarah?
Yeah, me, Sarah, and Joanna.
Yeah, because Becca was going to do it and couldn't be on it.
Yeah, it was a power outage or some tech difficulty.
Yeah. And then you, Henry, and Grant had the conversation with Steve in Kenya.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. Yes.
The conversation, we were like, okay, I have 15 minutes. And And then we had to record it again.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, my gosh. That was
That's why there's 2 episodes.
That's why there's 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It's 2 parts because it's actually 2 episodes.
We were up late, and we made it. Yeah, that's right. Oh, my God,
Yep.
that was a late call. Yeah.
Ashley and Sarah then talked to Aaron and Liz Munson about their marriage, what we termed a queer orientation marriage. Then Ashley and I talked to Lucas in Brazil.
Yeah.
About.
Well, I was there for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, you were there for 5 minutes, then the baby started calling.
I like texted Justin like, y'all have to do this on your own.
Another example where I just added in clips of Ashley's voice. Anyone who heard the side B, like the season 2 finale, how I randomly add in Ashley's voice in random parts.
I'm gonna have to listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little behind the scenes.
Yeah. Then we, the 3 of us, talked to Greg Coles about
Can I
his
take
new
this
book.
real quick? Hold on. This is Henry.
What are you doing?
What? Hey, so we're yeah, what's up?
It's all right. Josh can edit this out.
No, this is staying in.
No, discussion. That'll be tomorrow after the end of the day. At the end of the day.
What's happening?
Yes. Okay. It's a staff-related question. Okay. Sorry, we're recording the podcast right now. So.
Coordinator Henry, everyone. Conference coordinator.
Okay,
He is coordinating.
yes.
Henry Abuto is currently
so much.
coordinating as
Okay,
we
thank
speak.
you. All right, bye. I had to take the call.
Okay.
Who called you while we're recording?
The volunteer, Joseph David.
Oh,
Okay.
Joseph.
You know he's so thorough, so yes.
To wrap this up then,
Bless him.
Becca talked with Christian Johnston and Adrian in Hungary about Side B in Europe.
Yes.
Then we
Love
had a
that
trans
conversation.
inclusion episode with just trans voices where Leslie Hudson Reynolds and Lo talked. Then Becca interviewed Anderson McGee about being queer in ministry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sarah interviewed Greg Webb and Michelle Dis
Greg
about,
Webb's right there.
Yes.
Greg
About being side B in secular work environments. Then Sarah, Joanna Marie, Williams, and then Shelby all talked about racial inclusion in side B. And then we finished off with Grant interviewing Scott Herr about being gay and Catholic. That is everything we talked about this season.
It was a lot.
It was a lot.
You know what's so funny when you read that out? It doesn't sound like a lot, but I swear I spent like more time thinking about this podcast than that.
I know,
That's
but
so
yet
interesting.
that's what we did.
Okay.
So we
some good
talked about
Yeah.
identity and inclusion for the thing. So I guess starting out, of those conversations, which conversation impacted you most and why?
Good question.
I think one that impacted me, I think, is whenever we get paired up with different hosts, and so like leaning on each other's dynamic, because we get to know each other better as well through that. And I think our episode with Steve was really special
so
to me. Oh my
special.
gosh, those 2 episodes, those were fun. I really enjoyed listening to, because I loved, like, sometimes I don't listen to all the episodes, so I just don't. But if I do happen to catch one, I'm like, ooh, this is good. The trans one was really good, just because that's something I really want to learn more about as a gay cis man. So I'm just like, okay. So that was just really informative for me. So
I feel like I really liked the trans one because I remember when I told Leslie and Lo that we're like, okay, we want you two to have a conversation and don't feel you need to explain things for cis people.
Yeah.
Like, just have a conversation as trans people. And they both told me, like, I don't know what to do with that.
But it was good because it was stuff because like I feel like if it was us, we're gonna tend to ask all the same questions.
Yeah.
And they talked about stuff that is not always in like these same cis-led conversations.
Exactly, because there are things that we don't know to ask.
Yeah.
So they bring in. We just need to shut up and listen. So
Yeah,
it was great to be
exactly.
able to do that.
Any others that stood out?
I think it's probably the one that we did with the Munsons I really like, just because they've been married a long time and they have kids, and that's where I'm at. And so I found that interesting for selfish purposes, but it was really informative too, just to see how they're doing things. I just really like the approach they have with their kids and everything.
Yeah. I super enjoyed listening to that one. I just remember the moment that I learned about them, and I was like, we need you on the podcast, people. Like, we didn't get to fit them into
They are
season 2, so I was
fantastic,
so glad we got to talk to them in season 3.
Yeah, I think the one that was most impactful for me that I had the opportunity to host was talking with Christian and Brandon, discussing sexual assault, because it's a conversation that we don't have often, but needs to be had.
Yeah.
And so being able to break the ice with that and say, let's have a family conversation about this thing that people know about and discuss in tiny little pockets, but that needs to be brought to light. And in the larger picture of talking about abuse within the church, we need to make sure that we are keeping those lines of communication open. So that's been the most impactful long-term for me this season.
I think it was also really cool with that to be able to talk about like sexual abuse in like both of those spheres like of the church and the gay community, and how like obviously those intersect in the gay Christian world, and how we have to look at the unique aspects of what that looks like in the church, as we've seen with a lot of scandals and just everything going on, as well as a lot within the LGBTQ community and what abuse looks like in that whole thing. So, yeah.
I really enjoyed my conversation with Matthew Ventura because, like, we've talked terminology to death. We just have so many conversations about the words we use, but it was so nice to hear someone say something fresh and sort of reorienting. He talked about using language for solidarity or using language for differentiation.
That was huge.
Yeah.
Huge. It was paradigm shifting and so helpful. So I think about that episode. I really love the episode with Steve. Episodes with Steve. Those are some of my favorite. And the one on sexual abuse was one that I really benefited from. So
I feel like the ones where we talked about like side B outside of the United States, talking with Steve, talking with Lucas, and talking with Adrian. We didn't get to have an Eastern Asian voice because we were when we find someone, that will happen. But being able to at least have someone in all these different areas was just able to look at what side B looks like in other contexts, because so many times we talk about it so Americanized, and obviously it can get overdone and all of this, and obviously all of us are Americans, and so I was really glad.
Who is, girl? Not me.
We all in an American context.
Okay.
How about that?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
They're still holding on that green card, okay? Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, what do you feel like you've learned about identity or inclusion or both, like over the past year? Is there anything that has stood out that you kind of take away from the season as important lessons from it?
I think I was just really excited. Like you were talking about our episodes set in different continents. I was just so excited to be able to expand our understanding of our community. Because I think, like, historically, Side B land has been sort of like white cis voices. That's me. I'm saying this is ironic. White cis voices have drowned out a lot of other voices in the conversation. They've led, but in a lot of ways, they've just sort of been the only conversation that's been sort of platformed. And so the trans inclusion episode, the episodes were set in non-US or non-Western places. Those are really like expanding for me. And really, it was really exciting for me to, it's sort of like finding another part of the family tree. It was like, oh, like
the
weird.
good part.
Yeah, like weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. every part is every part. Okay. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was really exciting for me.
Yeah, being able to have that expanded context is really helpful because the conversations specifically about terminology have bogged me down in a lot of conversations the last 3 or 4 years, and having that experience of listening to people in other parts of the world talk about the fact that terminology isn't a discussion they even have to have because their grammar structure is different. So like they don't have to worry about saying gay Christian because their grammar structure is you would say Christian gay. And so we're literally in conservative churches in America arguing about the order of nouns and adjectives.
Yes.
And so
writing
it was
whole
so,
think pieces
yes,
about
and like,
them.
I mean, people lose their jobs and denominations write papers to talk about the structure and the order of their adjectives and their nouns. And it was a good perspective shifter for me to remember that only people that speak English in America have this problem. We should just all speak Spanish and then it won't be an issue.
Yeah. I'm fine with the
same. Yeah, so that, listening to Matthew talk about that paradigm shifting idea of instead of arguing about it this way, this is how we talk about it literally on the other side of the globe. Maybe y'all should join us in this conversation. And I'm like, maybe we should let Matthew lead. So that was the biggest impact for me, was remembering to broaden the context a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like what, like you said, broadening the context. I really didn't even think about it when we were talking about like the theme for this season that we were going to do about identity and inclusion, like all the things that inclusion means, to just platform all these other voices and just listen, like just learning to listen to people we don't normally listen to or just don't normally get even a chance to hear from. And that was important. Like one of the things that was impactful about Christian's episode, because me and Josh were kind of doing a back and forth about it, because he asked what that looked like for the women in Side B. And it's like, most of them were shocked. They're like, that happens? And it's like, yeah, actually it does quite often, because for some reason with the women in Side B, it's not that it doesn't happen. I'm sure there are contexts where it does, but it's just not something we really knew about. So to hear someone come to us like, no, this does happen, this is how this goes, this is what's going on in a community that we considered our own and stuff that we didn't really know was going on, and to be told these things and just to be hear from different voices, different parts of like what Grant said, they're part of our family, part of our community, but we don't hear from them very often. So just that whole, just learning to listen to people that we maybe sometimes don't listen to. Like Beck said, we just gotta learn to be quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I would say along some of those lines, but it was also happening in my personal life as well, as the season was going on, was in terms of just really living our lives. Greg Coles and I were talking about this yesterday. It's like at some point in time, we have to stop trying to put our identities in these boxes and these check marks for other people to be happy with who we are, what we're doing. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to try being. And how about that? And you can go kick rocks if you don't like how I decide to be or who the Lord has made me. Because so much as Joanna said it a couple years ago, and I always reference it's like the refusal to speak the English language when you can't say gay, Christian, whatever. It's like, what else do you want to say? So this year I was just like, as we were doing this identity, it's like, you know what? This is literally who I am. I'm literally just describing that. And I'm no longer going back and forth. Well, I've been in that place for a couple of years for sure. Yeah. But like, just more as we're hearing other people talk about identity, what it means to them, other cultures, it was also this shift for me as well. It's like, oh, I'm just going to be. And it's been like one of the most freeing things that I've accepted in my life over the past couple of years. Yeah. And I was like, identity. So
I think like there's something that Sarah brought up a few times that has been really impactful for me over the season, which was true inclusion shouldn't be including, I should first put it has impacted me, especially being, as Grant said, like the most majority, a cis white male of the community. And she was saying, inclusion isn't including people as I would like them to be in the community. Including people the way that they want to be included, and as they are. Like, and she even put it in the situation. She's like, I'm normally quieter, and people want to include me and try to make me talk. And she's like, I might not want to talk. And like, so whatever context, I like, just allow me to exist and be included within my situation and with my way. And I think even hearing that, because she mentioned that in the first episode and brought it up in her episode with Joanna Marie and Shelby, which I really appreciated that episode. Just being able to have 3 queer women of color and just being able to come together and like talk about their experiences was really impactful to listen to. And just being able to take that as we went through the season of going, how can we include everyone, not as the way we want to as cis people, not as the way we want to as white people, not as the way we want to as people in America, but just finding out how to include people as they are in their context, and being able to just learn and be like, okay, let's give the microphone over and just let people talk and do what they want to do, and let's figure it out. So, yeah, it's been a good season.
I think so.
Agreed.
Yeah. Moving into like our next kind of area, Becca, do you want to kind of go into sharing a little bit about some of the changes we'll be having?
Yes. Season 3, we brought in Sarah, who did a phenomenal job. She is quiet, and I don't love that she's quiet, but she is quiet. And so what I love about it is when she speaks, it is with a wisdom and a power that is far beyond her years. And I've learned so much from her the last couple of years, just in social situations and in groups online, and listening when she has hosted on the podcast. But one of the things with being so young is she has lots of life changes going on. She started master's program this year, and so she is stepping back from hosting for season 4, which breaks my heart a little bit, but I completely understand. And I shared when she told us that she wasn't going to be with season 4 that I so respect the fact that she took an assessment of her life for the year coming up and said, I need to weigh some things out. And so she has stepped back from hosting with us as she adjusts to being in a graduate program. And I told her I was jealous that she figured out in her 20s how to do that, because in my 40s I can look back and go, oh, that was too much, but actually to be able to look forward and go, I need to adjust some things now, that's impressive. So she is not going to be with us for season 4. So we have a new co-host to introduce.
But before
eventually.
that,
yes. I almost forgot.
Yeah.
She has a message for us. So we have it queued up on a speaker, and we get to hear what Sarah has to say about being dearly departed from us as a co-host.
No.
That's why I added as a co-host.
Okay.
As a co-host.
Also, y'all can come grab some seats and
Yeah,
whatnot.
come on.
Yeah.
There's
Don't
chairs
be
up
shy.
here.
Come on, Elijah. Okay. Yes.
Dearly departed as a
Dearly departed as a co-host.
Put that on my gravestone.
Okay.
Dearly departed as a co-host.
Okay. I like that. I'm sure we can manage. Yeah.
Yes, as they're dearly departing.
It's all right. Josh can edit it out.
We're good. Oh, I can edit anything
I say
out of
dumb
this
things
one.
all the time, and Josh
Okay.
just cuts it out. So.
But he doesn't do it to me, okay?
It's not.
Oh, Bridget's in the house. Yes. Oh, yeah.
Hi, everyone. It's Sarah, your co-host from season 3. It has been a pleasure to be a co-host this season. I have so enjoyed working with you all and working with all the guests that I worked with and learning alongside you all. But I have decided to step back for season 4. This year truly has been so completely different from my expectations of it. It's so funny to look back to the beginning of the season, what I thought I was going to be doing, and then what actually happened. And I mean, that both within the podcast and in my own personal life. I think I have begun grad school and just have so much less time than I thought I was going to, and want to be really intentional to focus on my relationship with Jesus and the stuff that I have going on in my personal life. So I will be stepping back, but I am excited to continue listening to Life on Side B, to continue learning from the people that are hosted by it. I have so much love for this podcast and for its heart. I also wanted to shout out all of the guests that I interviewed. I have learned so much from each of you and been challenged both personally, but also in the way that I think about the language that I use, the community that I'm building, who am I including when I create spaces and who am I not. And just, yeah, I have grown a lot because of this season. I also wanted to give a special thanks to all of the other co-hosts. I have loved learning alongside all of you. I think it's been really cool because we all have such different perspectives and different life contexts, but are able to come together and have such enriching conversations. I also wanted to thank Josh specifically. I have really appreciated the ways that you have empowered me to really be a full co-host. I was so shocked that Josh asked me to be on this podcast, but I think it's been really validating, not only in my role as a co-host, but also I would come to Josh and be like, so I have these feelings about this thing and I think we should move in this direction. And he very consistently empowered me to do that. And that is something that I have not really experienced in environments before and have really appreciated. So I am so sad to be leaving, but happy to continue to be a part of the community. And I'm excited to see where the podcast goes. Please feel free to reach out to me. You know my Twitter and my Instagram. I would love to continue to be in conversation and community. And I'll catch y'all later.
Hand for Sarah.
Yes. Yeah. It was really enjoyed. She couldn't come to Revoice. Tried to figure things out for her to come, but sadly she couldn't. So anyway, we were very glad to have her. So
she's going to be missed in conversations, but I'm glad she's promising to stick around and continue conversations online.
I did tell her about our idea of whenever this podcast ends, just to have everyone who's ever served as a co-host and just like have everyone together.
That would be great.
That would be great.
We will have to figure that out.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm only making you commit to one more episode. And it is whenever we do that.
That's right.
Yeah. Can you imagine if this gets to like season 10 or something?
I
can't be around for that.
Just at 10 years, would just be like, you know what?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
Done.
Yes.
Okay, do you want to give the...
I do, but when one door closes, another one does open. So while we are sad to see Sarah Abby go, we are very, very happy and excited to announce that we are adding a new co-host. Not to replace Sarah, because you know you can't replace people like that, but to just bring a new, fresh perspective to our dynamic. We have the lovely Elizabeth Black.
Woo!
Yes. Yes. Elizabeth Black has served as an evangelist and minister in New York City for almost 10 years. A Black and Mexican Baltimore native, she attended Washington Bible College for undergraduate studies and is currently working on a master's, of theology at All Nations College in the UK. Elizabeth has a heart to bring the gospel to the LGBTQ plus community through contextual and caring practices. In pursuit of this goal, she has co-founded Kaleidoscope alongside our own Megbots, a ministry cultivating communities where LGBTQ plus people can explore faith in Jesus. Elizabeth loves to cook, entertain, watch documentaries, and read about culture and social issues. Last but not least, she's a wife and mother of 2 young boys. Welcome, Elizabeth Black. We're so excited to have you.
So excited to be here. Like, can't even believe this day has come. When Josh called me, first of all, can I say?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, a few things.
Yeah.
Okay, please share.
Okay,
You can
so
say.
one, Josh was like, hey, Elizabeth, can we chat? Like, I don't know, a few
Yeah.
months ago. And I was like, great. So I grabbed like snacks, I got a little drink, I'm sitting down, and he's like, hey, how's it going? And I just go off. Like, I'm just talking about
We start talking about
gathering,
life.
Just talking about life. I'm like, okay, I guess we have to go now. Okay, see you. And he's like, actually, one thing. And
The reason I called.
Shocked. Yeah, the reason I called. And I was shocked, but really excited. So
It was really
I'm
fun.
looking forward to this.
When so I normally, with all the co-hosts, ever since we started having a co-host team on season 2, I've always said, just stay on for a season, and at the end of every season, if you end up like not wanting to, but just don't go out in the middle of a season.
Grant and I are leaving. We probably
Of course.
We waited till the end of the season, like you asked.
I know, but I'm like, give me time.
We did that. That would be chaotic.
Well,
just walk out.
So when Sarah said that that she was not going to be able to continue, was thinking about who to ask on, and we had gotten to know each other when you came down to visit.
Yes.
I think that was it. You came down to Fort Lauderdale and we hung out, and then brought that up to everyone on the team, and everyone was like, yes, like yes.
Which makes absolutely no sense to me. Because I was like, when Josh asked, I was like, they don't know me. Like, why? How are they saying yes? Like, no one knows who I am at all.
I think my
And I'm
literal
there.
words were, heck yes, she seems rad.
I actually think I have that text.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you were-
Yeah.
And you know, side B, we all investigate each other. We all
Oh,
know
yeah,
who somebody is.
We all go into the groups. Henry's already taught me. You are.
Before you go to the search bar and just search.
You just search in all of the groups and see what comes up.
I'll have to rescue him from some podcasts. I'm not going to give you all the tea. But I'm just like, Josh, you should have typed that in the search bar. And you would not have been in a situation.
That's right. You some old stuff.
Before I even entertain any conversation, girl, type in the name or the topic. I promise you will save yourself so many things and people.
So that's good advice. Yeah, that's good advice.
Anyway,
because the Google knows.
We like what we saw.
Okay, thanks for the investigation.
Yeah.
I just love we've like bonded ever since you came down to Fort Lauderdale,
absolutely.
and just
First time we met.
Yeah, totally got it. So we're glad to have you on.
So happy.
Join the Life on Side B family.
So fun. And also, every time I listen to Life on Side B, the whole time I'm sitting there like, I just want to say something. Like, can I just like call in? Can I phone a friend and like get in on this?
Okay,
so now I'm excited because I can actually say something.
I know.
Let's
we
take
should
callers.
do a call-in
Yeah,
episode.
take callers.
I actually found an app that you can do that.
Season 4.
Oh
my
It
God.
sounds like we have our first caller like right here, ready to go.
Yes? Okay.
Y'all saw I take calls on the podcast clearly.
Please.
Yes.
Okay, I will figure it out. I'll figure out the technology for this.
We can have Jake do it.
Yes.
He knows the production
Jake,
side
you
of
want
things.
you want to be
Jake,
our
do
producer?
you want a Life on Side B job?
It doesn't pay anything.
It doesn't mean no money in it. Okay. We also have a new intern. Well, we have 2 new interns, but one new intern who is here with us.
So sick of him.
Jacob Orr.
Woo! Jacob!
So we put out a call a bit ago for interns, and we got a lot of responses. And I was really. What's going on
Jesus. Okay. I'm sick of Jake. That's why.
So we got a bunch of responses, and so Jacob and also another guy named Nick are going to be helping us, and I'm really excited to have you on. This is going to be fun. You know, as a volunteer team, like we.
Oh, I'm not getting paid for this?
No.
She's like, this is my first and last appearance.
Wait, what?
Yes. Can I give
You
a
need to
goodbye?
renegotiate that
Okay,
contract.
go ahead.
Yeah.
It was
Just
a
say
pleasure
goodbye.
being on this episode.
Girl, talk to HR.
Yeah.
But
You committed
yeah.
to a full season, is what Josh just said.
There you go. So as we move into season 4, that means a new theme. And so, Ashley, do you want to like introduce the new theme?
Yeah, we kind of went back and forth on a couple things because there was a lot of people who wanted to talk about shame and coming out of shame, and then a lot of people wanted to talk about theology, and then we kind of was like, we can do something together with that. And so this thing that we settled on, Joshua settled on, is the road to resilience. And we know that the road to, or like, you know, this journey that you go on to reconcile your faith and your sexuality is a long road. It is hard work that, you know, a lot of people don't understand that, like, we put work into this to really figure all this out. Like, we sit there and we study, we put time in, like, it's a whole thing. But we want to learn how to do that well in a way that is not burdensome. We want to be able to find a way that we can do that in a healthy way, in a joyful way, in a way that helps us grow, as opposed to just continues to pull us down in this exhaustion with different conversations and different passages of scripture. We want to be able to do this in a way that is life-giving, the way that Jesus says he comes to give us all life and life in abundance. And we think that we can, to do this long journey, we can do that with Jesus like that.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
We still have to plan it out, though.
We have not planned
There's
it out
some
at all.
details.
We don't know how we're going to do that,
But it
but
sounds
we're
so
gonna.
good.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
great.
Well,
love it.
I feel like just the way we had a few things. We talked about doing a whole entire theme on theology,
And I
and
couldn't
then
do that.
Yeah, like you brought up a good point that like
That's
honestly
rough.
I don't know if we can talk about theology for a whole.
I was like, I
entire
don't want to do 25 episodes, and I don't want to talk about shame for 25
Well,
episodes.
and also Sarah brought up a really good point that was like, honestly, there's many times in the Side B world where it feels like you have to be a theologian in order to engage in the conversation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And she was like, honestly, like good to talk about theology, but not just live there.
We ain't got time for that.
And I think that
You gotta live a little.
the area with resilience was this idea that a lot of times the road of being a sexual minority can definitely be a road of you realize what a lack of emotional maturity we all have.
Oh, yeah.
And how we do that. Thankful, can't wait for Elizabeth's talk tomorrow.
Yes.
Just saying.
I hope I can give you a little something, but
Yes. But yes, while we don't need doctorates in theology, I still want to be, we need to be in the Word, y'all, for sure.
Exactly.
So, we're not be pushing out.
Well, and I love the one part that you talked about that we have to figure out how to talk about. It's just like how you have a theology that releases you from shame, and how you have a theology that pushes you to emotional maturity and allows for the longevity of it.
And there are reasons that sometimes a lot of us are emotionally immature. Is like the different things that like me and Grant talked about. I think it was like last season or season, I don't know. But like the second adolescence, there are certain areas in our life where we weren't allowed to grow. We weren't invested.
Come on, Velvet Rage. Okay.
We weren't invested in, like, our different mentors didn't want to talk about this with us, so we just kind of stayed not just in a stunted growth in one area, but it affects lots of different things in our life.
Yeah. Well, and I would say the same thing about theology itself. Like, we tend to think of theology just as like this systematic thing. And in actuality, theology is how we live out our lives. It's how we know God and relate to other people and relate to God's creation. So when we think about resilience, when we think about emotional health and growth and spirituality, it's all intertwined in our theology. And our theology is also informed by our own experiences. So it's like, I think it's a great marriage of topics.
For sure. Yeah. Great. Any other thoughts on that point? No? One other announcement before we go on to the next point is starting next week, or probably tomorrow, I don't know, whenever I put it up, we're going to have a new website.
Woo!
And we're going to have, people have been asking about what happened to this website, Side B and Chill. It will be back on. Now part of the resource page of, I know, yes, I know. That whole name.
Except we don't. Right?
We don't. That's the point. That's the ironic point of the name. In case didn't think it needed to be explained, but
here we are.
Here we are.
So some of these cuddle sessions.
Ooh, buddy.
So we're gonna have that. We're gonna have. I had written an explanation of like the 4 sides terminology. That's going to be on there. We're going to have a lot of extra resource stuff, a book resource thing, and a lot more different stuff on that. Not right at the beginning, but later on, we're going to have merch. Finally.
Yes, some sweatshirts.
Yes. And actually, we have something to give away. So I've been trying to figure out how to do this. And is there any person in here that has listened to every single episode?
I knew it.
I knew that. My goodness.
I knew that now. I knew
Hand
that
raised
one.
immediately.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, you get it.
No
So we
doubt.
have our new journal that is like completely designed, and our first sticker.
Oh my gosh. Well, we have to sign her journal. We need to sign that.
Write all your side B thoughts and your side B
If you want,
do you want
like we don't want to write it.
She's gonna get mine, honey. Okay, she's gonna get mine.
I'm giving autographs.
Henry forces his autograph on somebody.
Okay.
Yeah,
Won't be
that's
worth
amazing.
anything except for your own enjoyment.
Yeah. Okay. Y'all don't know where I'm going in my life. Okay.
Oh my God.
This is true.
Hey, he's sick of me.
So
Yes.
yeah, we're gonna have shirts on there. I'm having Anthony Esser work on a shirt that says "Grieved almost beyond words."
Revoice year 1.
Burwell, if you're listening, we'd love to have you on the podcast.
That would be good. That would be good.
No, that would be good.
That would be good.
We could do season 5 conversations in conflict and
Yes.
just interview all the haters.
Oh, Tim W. Well, you can actually dialogue with Tim though, and once you get past some things. So
We could have blue-haired Jezebel guy on.
Oh my God! Remember when they called Becca that, y'all?
That was another shirt I thought about having. Blue-haired lesbian Jezebel.
Yeah.
Bad heretic.
Which is
wasn't
an
it?
oxymoron.
Wasn't it a bad heretic too? One of them.
Yes. Who is the bad heretic?
Oh no, he was the bad
he's
heretic.
The bad heretic.
They asked, can't we get a better heretic?
Low quality
I was like,
heretic?
no, that's just mean.
I was called the gay Candace Owens last year. So.
That's true. Yes. I liked that one. That one made me laugh really hard. Not that hard, but almost that hard.
Literally, I can't stand that woman. So I was like, what?
Oh my gosh. Oh, well then we have one last announcement. We heart our haters. This is
That's
you,
not the announcement.
Grant.
Yeah, go ahead, Grant.
Okay.
I'm so excited for this. Okay.
I don't even know what it is.
So,
I'm excited.
some of you may have noticed a social media account pop up in the Twitter sphere.
And the Instagram sphere.
And the Instagram sphere. Oh yes, that's right.
That's
You weren't in it.
I wasn't in charge of that one, but yes, we're there too. And you may have seen me posting something that says like "Treasure is coming" on Friday, coming up tomorrow. You guys, the live episode audience, gets a sneak peek before it drops tomorrow. A few months ago, I was chatting with Josh, several months ago, about what it would look like to launch a sort of counterpoint to the Life on Side B podcast. So something that's a little bit shorter, something that's a little bit more polished. We all can agree on that? Okay. a little more polished.
So we're rough and long-winded? Is that what you're saying?
No! We're expansive. And we're organic.
Yes.
Yes.
Organic.
So we need something that is shorter, more polished.
Well curated.
Well curated. No, we're well curated. Anyway, I'm digging myself into a hole. So we did a brainstorming session, and we are hoping to. We're launching a podcast.
Yeah, we're launching a
We're
second
hoping to,
podcast.
and we're doing it. We're launching a podcast tomorrow.
What's the name of the podcast?
The name of the podcast, we're going to play the trailer soon, but the name of the podcast is Milk and Honey. We were talking about what it would look like to provide a platform for Side B folks to bring treasures from their traditions and communities and share them with us as a community. And so there'll be three sort of broad categories: devotional, hymnal, liturgy. And so we'll have people as guests sharing a liturgical element or a worship song or a meditation from themselves or from their religious tradition for us. And it would be something that would strengthen or encourage or challenge the church at large, or Side B folks in particular. So I'm really excited for our first round of guests.
Yes.
You'll get to hear some of those guests on the trailer.
We can talk about it more after.
Yes, so we can play the trailer now, and that'll drop tomorrow in the real world. Welcome to Milk and Honey, a ministry of Posture Shift. My name's Grant Hartley, and I will be your host. This is a podcast meant to showcase the truth, beauty, and goodness of the traditions and communities to which Side B folks belong through the lens of Side B folks ourselves, that is, Christian sexual and gender minorities who submit to what is often called the traditional sexual ethic. It is a space in which we can experience treasures together: music, liturgy, reflections, meditations, teachings, from diverse Side B lives of faith and from the diverse faithful communities which strengthen and nourish us. Each week, we will platform a guest who will offer a treasure to us.
Hello everyone, my name is Eve Tushnet.
Hello, this is Duma.
This is Josh.
And this is Johnny.
In one of three broad categories: devotional, liturgy, or hymnal.
I'm going to be reading as a devotional the excerpts from the final section of my forthcoming book, Tenderness.
I'll be sharing an excerpt from the Akathist to Jesus Christ, Lover of Mankind.
We are here sharing with you a song today.
Devotional will include sermons, homilies, and other reflections or meditations. Liturgy will include scripture readings, prayers, and other liturgical elements. Hymnal will include musical praise and worship. Lines may blur and the categories blend.
All these treasures will be accompanied by a brief introduction by the guest, explaining what this treasure means to them and what it contributes to the church, and maybe even specifically how it can comfort, challenge, or strengthen other Side B folks.
Because God is with me, I shall not be shaken. There's just a lot of comfort, and I think as Side B people, it's one thing to live a life running away from something, but it's another thing to live life running towards something, and I think the presence of God is worth running towards. It's so beautiful.
The image of honey is used throughout Scripture to represent God's Word, while the image of milk is often used to represent basic teaching or instruction. Both are also images of God's favor and intimate parental care. We want this podcast to express a longing for God, for His words of love and instruction, and for that intimate care. We want to heed the Apostle Peter's words to long for the pure spiritual milk, and to shout out with the psalmist, "Your words are sweeter than honey."
No matter what other people think of you, God has said, by sustaining you through another day, that He wishes for you to continue to exist. Scripture shows God as your trustworthy lover, your steadfast friend. Name Him for what you need most.
Glory to you, Jesus, tranquility on the sea of troubles. Glory to you, Jesus, for you manage all details. Glory to you, Jesus, serenity within chaotic settings. Glory to you, Jesus, for your blessings overtake obstacles.
We hope to showcase not only the gifts and talents of individuals, but also the goodness, truth, and beauty of the traditions and communities to which we belong. We invite you to come along for the ride.
Yes. Come on, milk and honey.
I love that I get to sit back as a producer role on this one.
Yeah.
You get to take the lead.
So we're so excited about the first round of guests. We have a few other guests in the works, but also we would love if you have a treasure to contribute. We would love for you to reach out to us. So there will be a way for you to do that on the upcoming website if you have something from your tradition that you wanted to share.
If you go to once we have the new website up, there will be a place, you go to lifeonsideb.com, and there will be a place about milk and honey there, and there will be a button you click, and it'll take you to a Google form where you could literally put in your own. It could be something that you've written. It could be a passage of scripture that has really impacted you. It could be just whatever literally you would be interested in. And you could either pick to come on and read it yourself or have someone else do it for you, because we also understand that many people in our community are not at the point that they would want to be on a podcast, and that is completely okay, but we want to be able to showcase all of those things.
For sure.
So,
yep.
And it only makes sense that the queer treasure is the
Yes.
one
Yes.
that is sharing.
No, but that's the thing. I'm helping other people bring treasures.
Exactly.
It's like an elaboration on
I love it.
the queer treasure theme. I'm very excited.
So tomorrow, when you guys wake up and you're going around the conference, look up on wherever you listen to podcasts, look up Milk and Honey, a Side B podcast, subscribe. The trailer's going to drop there. Share it wherever you can. And then on the 13th, on Wednesday, we're going to drop the first 3 episodes all at once. They'll all be there. It's not going to be as consistent. It's like we're going to figure out how often it goes. But yeah, it's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what we have for this thing. But we do have a little bit more time, before we want to stop. So
emphasis on the little for me.
Yes, I promise I won't.
Are you fading, Precious?
Kind of fast.
Okay. So we wanted to first open it up for interactions. If you all had questions for the co-host team, or if you had any comment, whatever you would have, don't have.
And I'm kidding. I'm happy to sit here and talk to you all night. I really am.
Let's just keep him here for another hour. No, I'm joking. I promise. No.
I function well at 4 hours of sleep, so I'm fine. So.
Yeah. So we'd love
comments?
to talk with anyone if anyone has anything.
Say Elizabeth also gives great haircuts.
I do.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Little hidden, I don't know, what
Do you
talent. that
I'll
I
have to hit
a
you
little
up.
treasure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Can we make haircut into a devotional?
I can make haircuts into a devotional for
She
sure.
gave me a haircut when I was too nervous to go to a barber shop because I had lost a lot of my hair due to stress and it was just starting to grow back. So she was really kind and
It was a bonding
Okay.
experience
Yeah,
too.
it was my first time.
It was a bonding experience.
I love it. The first swipe was like a whoops because it was a very
You're not supposed to tell that part.
Okay, you're gonna really have to edit that one out. Okay.
variable guard, but she fixed it. It was great.
She gives great haircuts. The
Okay,
first
so-
one.
Revoice haircutting session tomorrow.
Revoice
Oh,
haircutting
love
session.
Next year.
Is that right next to the ear piercing station?
Yes.
Oh, the ear piercing station. I forgot.
And the tattoos. Are we doing tattoos?
Yes.
No,
Oh my
no,
gosh.
that's next year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Add it to the list for 2025, right, Jake?
Mm-hmm. You're still gonna
Revoice
produce it.
2025. I know he's still producing over there.
2025.
Anything else?
Long-term goal.
If not,
cut your
we're good.
hair. I think
Okay.
there's a hand.
Beautiful.
Josh, I've got a question.
Sure.
What is like, for all of you really, what is, I guess, I'm curious to hear, like, a piece of feedback or an email you received or, like obviously you guys have shared your thoughts as to what's been the most impactful episode, but I'm curious, you guys hear from other people as well.
About like what's been what episode's been the most impactful?
As you put
Yeah,
together the-
I now have to pull up the episodes again because I think it was very interesting to see kind of like what episodes impacted. We got a lot of feedback about Christian's episode on sexual abuse. There was a lot of feedback from people saying that they had had similar stories, that they had never been able to talk about it, that it just helped encourage them. I know Christian even said that he received a lot of messages from that. So we got a lot of responses about how that started conversation. I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. We've gotten a lot of feedback and a lot of listens about Greg, Webb, and Michelle's episode on Side B and secular work environments.
Oh, cool.
I think it's because we many times talk about Side B in faith context, but we don't talk about what it's like to be just.
It's a whole very different thing.
Like Side B in
Yeah.
a normal life,
Sort of
like
that.
where you're not in ministry and it's not your job, kind of thing.
What encourages me is whenever we hear back from people, just seeing what really the Lord is using and doing through this random thing that I'm oftentimes annoyed about because I forget about it. To be honest, I'm not annoyed. Okay, I just forget about it and it's inconvenient sometimes. But anyways, because I want to sleep. That's all I'm saying. But how the Lord can still use those things. And like literally, I'll say something, or Grant would have said something, or Becca would have said something, and then months later, someone will comment and be like, "Oh, what Becca said here, what?" And I was like, "What? That landed somewhere?" It's like just how God uses those everyday moments and everyday conversations. That's really what's encouraging to me.
Yeah.
I've really appreciated when I've seen, interacted with someone who's listened to the podcast, and I was like, how did the podcast get there?
Yeah.
Like I was very chaotically hosting a Twitter space in the past couple
been doing
weeks.
that so much.
I know. I'm up. I'll have an hour, and someone was chatting, and she's like, "I've been listening to your podcast. I live in Sydney," and I was like, "Wait, what?" And so we talked about that. How did she find the podcast? It was so cool. So
yeah,
I'm really humbled by that.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I would say the other one that we've gotten a lot of feedback on is the trans episode with Lo and Leslie, and people just really loving to hear just an unedited conversation of trans people. I think we've gotten a lot. Yeah, it's been. I think what's been really interesting is how many times we hear back from listeners who have no connection within the communities of Side B. Like they're like, I didn't know that there are other people like me, and we're like, yeah, we're here. We just kind of hang out and stuff. And this is like their one connection point on Side B stuff. And so we get that a lot.
And that's such a good reminder that we all, at one point in time, felt like that.
Yes.
Like so many people, I was talking at the registration table today, it's like, oh, how did you find Revoice? How did you find the Side B world? It's like, I thought I was the only one, or on Twitter randomly. So it's like even interesting that happens on the podcast. So yeah.
It's true. Yeah, so I would say that's kind of like some of the stuff that we've learned. I think the other inquiry we always get is people asking if we're friends.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
No.
I get that
The answer
often.
is no.
That's the question I
No.
get asked the most.
Yeah.
Like for me, like when people reach out to me about the podcast, it's like, are you friends with other
Like, do
co-hosts?
you like actually know each other?
Henry and I get along great whenever I answer his phone call.
Wish y'all know it's rare if you listen to podcasts, okay? Oh my God, one day, literally, I was trying to call me to answer, and I was like, I'll call Bridget. I bet she'll answer. And I FaceTime Bridget, and Bridget answered. Yes.
You lost points on that one.
I know, but now Bridget feels bad. She was the rebound.
Why did you have to say that? It wasn't even like that.
You brought it up.
I picked like the most famous
Thank
IB person
you.
in my phone. It was Bridget. I was like, let me FaceTime her. And like she answered.
Thank you.
Elizabeth, first episode, look what she doing.
When I talked to Bridget, she
We're
was
not
the
friends
first
anymore.
person
We used to be friends.
Yeah.
There used to be friendship here.
It's a Fleetwood Mac situation.
Lord, don't put the two black people against each other, okay?
Oh, please.
Lord.
We don't need that.
No, but we are all friends. But I get that question a lot if we're friends. And it's like,
I get it a lot too, and it's like we all like are friends. We all
banter.
legitimate. We do.
Yes.
We hang out.
We all live in different states.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the thing. We all
live in different
Every
states,
single
but
one
that
of
group
us.
chat.
Every single one of us, yeah.
That group chat gets
It is
interesting.
I think we live the closest, and we've
Yeah.
never traveled to each other.
No, no,
this is
yeah.
the closest is still like 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah.
Yeah, that's insane.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, so that's it. I guess we'll call it a night then with that. So, thank you all. Thanks for joining us, and we'll hope you listen to season 4.
When does
We'll be
season
back.
4 start?
2022.
Okay. Okay.
Early
good.
2022.
Okay.
January, maybe early
It'll be February.
We might give ourselves a
We
break.
have to decide what we're going to talk about first.
January
We have to,
6th.
set out episodes.
We have to set out
Who said
episodes.
January 6th?
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
we can take a break and then we have to have like the meeting.
Yeah, we have to have the meeting.
Bum, bum.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank
for
y'all
coming
so
and hanging out.
much. Yes.